The Adventures of Baron Munchausen is a 1988 film directed by Terry Gilliam. My intention here is to provide an analysis of the symbolic and metaphorical significance of this truly wonderful film, so that we can talk about it in more detail later. So I have no intention of exhausting the material, which is rich and inspiring and worthy of a scene-by-scene analysis. In fact, I will be leaving out whole chunks of the story. I'll be neglecting major themes, and I'll even be skipping past the twist at the very end of the film, which I'm sure will come up in later discussions. On the surface, the story is about a charismatic and colorful character, the Baron Munchausen, who leads a small group of uniquely gifted compatriots in an effort to break the siege of an embattled city. What's really at stake in this movie, though, is the awakening of a dormant, even dead heroism, or the resurrection of a smothered vitality.
It's all logic and reason now. Science, progress, laws of hydraulics, laws of social dynamics, laws of this, that, and the other. No place for three-legged cyclops in the South Seas. No place for cucumber trees and oceans of wine. No place for me.
And this applies to Munchausen as much as it does to his band of helpers and as much as to the denizens of the embattled city. There are several metaphorical levels at work here, which we'll get to through the course of this video. Our first introduction to Munchausen is a farcical one, as he is depicted on stage by an actor who is doing a very poor job representing the character. The whole troupe of actors is in disarray, in a state of chaos, bickering, blaming each other, and upset, and nothing is going right.
The wave! Oh, God! You incompetent imbecile! It wasn't me. It was her.
It wasn't me! It was him! You big...
We are supposed to be professionals and not trying to stay alive! Sally! Now, stay in here or I shall lock you up.
Enter the true Baron, and things begin to change. But the true Baron only appears after the entrance of little Sally Salt, the daughter of the director of the acting troupe, and the only one who can see past the oppressive illusions and call attention to things as they truly are. So it takes the courage and imagination of a child to awaken the dead myth of the Baron Munchausen, and to inspire the embattled city to cast off the oppressive powers that stifle its spirit. That's what the film is really
Can you
about.
just tell me why it says Henry Salt and Son on your daughter?
I should never have taught you to read. And son is traditional. That's the way it's supposed to be.
But let's start at the start. It's the age of reason. Nothing, of course, is reasonable about a war. Significantly, it is also a Wednesday. A mundane observation, but important if we are to understand why the city isn't fighting back. The reason? It's Wednesday. Equally significant here is the villain of the film, the right ordinary Horatio Jackson. He is the embodiment of the evil tendencies of the Age of Reason, and is therefore cast as a civil servant, an agent of the state. He is not the right reverend or the right honorable, as the appellation generally goes, but the right ordinary. Everything about him is decidedly and piously ordinary. In fact, he loathes heroism.
Excuse me. The officer who risked his life by single-handedly destroying 6 enemy cannon and rescuing 10 of our men held captive by the Turk.
Yes, sir.
The officer about whom we've heard so much.
I suppose so, sir.
Always taking risks far beyond the call of duty.
I only did my best, sir.
Have him executed at once.
Yes, sir.
Come along.
This sort of behavior is demoralizing for the ordinary soldiers and citizens who are trying to lead normal, simple, unexceptional lives. I mean, things are difficult enough as it is without these emotional people rocking the boat.
Jackson is a zealous conformist, hell-bent on ridding his community of the smallest iota of creativity, ingenuity, and vitality. Nothing fanciful, nothing pleasurable, nothing to do with the life of the heart is acceptable to his managerial mind.
So, it's agreed. Friday the 28th, you surrender. That's, 3 weeks from tomorrow. We can fix the details later.
No. You surrender.
With respect, Sultan, we've been through all this. You surrender.
But we're winning.
We surrendered last time.
So?
So now it's your turn.
What about the virgins?
Please, forget the virgins. We're out of virgins. Let us instead concentrate on reaching a rational, sensible, and civilized agreement, which will guarantee a world fit for science, progress, and...
But not Baron Munchausen.
He sees himself as practical and reasonable, but as we come to see, he is a heartless and cruel oppressor of the most unreasonable sort. He's an egoist who demands complete obedience.
What the devil is the Sultan playing at? It's Wednesday, isn't it?
I'm terribly sorry, sir, about the show. That one or two might have setbacks here, sir.
This theatre's closed. I want you and your company out of the city by tomorrow.
Oh, no, sir, no! No, sir, please, give us a say, sir!
Most importantly, the siege is Jackson's brainchild. The ridiculous arrangement about Wednesday is his idea. He wants the siege to continue because he thrives in it. He thrives on the fear of his community, and he surrounds himself with sycophants who do his bidding without question.
This nonsense at once. You, sir, are under arrest for spreading ridiculous tales at a time of great danger. When the enemy is at the gate, arrest him.
He takes every opportunity to prevent the citizens taking matters into their own hands, but it is only when they do find the inner courage and take matters into their own hands, demanding that the gates be opened, that the siege is brought to an end. In fact, it turns out that once they find their inner strength and courage, the siege essentially evaporates. Simply through the telling of his stories, the siege is defeated, because the siege is essentially a fantasy, an inner battle that had been caging them in and holding back their vital energies.
Quite wrong. Open the gate.
Munchausen is a figure who represents the fancy, the imagination, the vital creative force.
With reinforcements. Don't lose heart. And for all those ladies to whom I'm indebted for half a ton of finished silk and lacy linen, don't catch cold.
You won't get far on hot air and fantasy.
But he is a composite figure in need of his team to fulfill his mission. There's Berthold, the fast runner. He runs so fast he can traverse the world in just a minute, so he must wear a ball and chain. There's Albrecht, the strong man with superhuman strength. There's Adolphus, the sharpshooter who can target a fly halfway across the world. And there's Gustavus, who has super-sensitive hearing and the ability to blow a hurricane from his diminutive body. In addition, Munchausen has a dog, symbolic of loyalty, and a horse, symbolic of virility and animal power. And the horse in question is none other than the legendary Bucephalus, the horse of Alexander the Great. When Munchausen first identifies them, they are the actors in the play about the Adventures of Baron Munchausen. They, however, do not identify as these characters. Instead, they look at the Baron like he's some kind of nut job.
It's marvelous to see you. How are you? Where have you been? How are your legs? Where are the others? Albrecht, Adolphus, Gustavus, I can't believe it. This is miraculous.
I'm Bill. He's Bill.
This is a clue to the metaphorical subtext. These people, the ordinary citizens of the embattled town, have lost touch with themselves. They don't know who they are at heart. Under the spell of the right ordinary Horatio Jackson, they are merely Desmond or Bill, Jeremy or Rupert, spiritually dead to their vital natures.
Gustavus! Adolphus! Ulrich! We're about to make off with the Sultan's treasure! We can't just stop! Berthold!
The name's Desmond, mate. We're actors, not figments of your imagination. Now get a grip!
This situation is what sets the Baron on his remarkable journeys, which the magic of filmmaking brings to life in stark contrast to the failed storytelling of the acting troupe in thrall of Jackson and his right ordinary and perfectly reasonable, perfectly mundane world. To unlock the vital spirit, Munchausen must begin with a journey to the moon, and there confront the root of the lunacy that is at the heart of the trouble. There we meet the king and queen of the moon, who are afflicted with a schizoid relationship between the body and the brain.
Have you ever been to the moon?
No.
Ah, interesting place. The king and queen are charming. You know about their detachable heads, don't you?
No.
Their heads go off for intellectual pursuits, while their bodies engage in more bodily activities. The trouble is, their heads and bodies don't always see eye to eye.
In fact, the king's head is so out of control, he believes he is king of everything, and his dominion, the entire universe.
Baron, let me explain it to you. Since you were last here, I, that is my head, that which is left of me, where the brilliant and important parts are located, is now ruling and governing the known universe. And that which I don't know, I create. I just created spring. But seriously, without me, there would be nothing, not even you. Cogito, ergo es. I think, therefore you is.
On the moon, the Baron finds Berthold, who has no recollection of his identity and who has also lost his vital power to run.
Come out of there!
Ow! Stop that! What'd you do that for?
I beg your pardon, I thought you might be unfriendly.
Of course I'm unfriendly. You'd be unfriendly if I prodded you.
Who are you?
I can't remember.
The rest of the adventures follow a similar pattern as the Baron rescues his lost team, who all feel old and enfeebled. With Sally's help, however, the Baron rescues and recuperates them all.
Albrecht! Albrecht!
Baron! Berthold! What are you doing here?
Looking for you.
Oh, no. I couldn't do that. No. Not since I found myself. No. Now I really know. I never really wanted to be big and strong and lug heavy things about. No. And now I know I want to be dainty and sensitive. They call me the midget down there. I love it. It's bliss.
He's gone funny.
We need some help.
No doctors. No doctors.
Do I hear the Baron?
Hey?
Do I hear the Baron?
No doctors.
Do I hear the Baron?
I can make that. Use a trumpet.
Adolphus. Gustavus.
This belly of the fish or whale trope is a classic, and one that Joseph Campbell addresses brilliantly in the interview series he did with Bill Moyers called The Power of Myth.
Jonah in the whale. I mean, that's a standard motif of going into the whale's belly and coming out again.
Why must the hero do that?
The whale represents the personification, you might say, of all that is in the unconscious. In reading these things psychologically, water is the unconscious. The creature in the water would be the dynamism of the unconscious, which is dangerous and powerful and has to be controlled by consciousness. The first stage in the hero adventure, when he starts off on adventure, is leaving the realm of light, which he controls and knows about, and moving toward the threshold. And it's at the threshold that the monster of the abyss comes to meet him. And then there are 2 or 3 results. One, the hero is cut to pieces and descends into the abyss in fragments to be resurrected, or he may kill the dragon power, as Siegfried does when he kills the dragon, but then he tastes the dragon blood. That's say he has to assimilate that power. And when Siegfried has killed the dragon and tasted the blood, he hears the song of nature. He has transcended his humanity, you know, and associated himself with the powers of nature, which are the powers of our life, from which our mind removes us. You see, this thing up here, this consciousness thinks it's running the shop. It's a secondary organ. It's a secondary organ of a total human being.
So this scene in the Munchausen film is about coming into contact with the ground of being, and the awakening of Munchausen's companions is symbolically about the awakening of one's inner vital forces.
Can't you let me die in peace once in a while?
Huh?
Bucephalus, my Bucephalus.
The vitality of the legs, the muscular vitality, the vitality of the eyes, which can see more than meets the eye, the vital ears that hear more than meets the ordinary ear, and the vital breath that can sweep away armies. Once these forces are awakened through the power of storytelling, and it's significant that this film is a compendium of legend, fairy tale, folk tale, and myth, because the film manages to thereby represent the vital forces at work in these stories, that they are more than just stories.
It wasn't just a story, was it?
They are the receptacles of our connection to our inner child, our dreams, our courage, and our capacity for true freedom.
Open the gate!